So it was Bear's first day at work in the depot, obviously at Caleb's, and basically Jay was playing this game of like who can get on the leaderboard, who packs the most boxes and all of this. And he genuinely was just playing a game. Obviously Jay is not Ray, like he didn't mean anything by it. So he's obviously playing this game and Bear wins, so he gets the most boxes packed. And obviously Jay thanks him with beers, which obviously brings back memories, very much so. Although like Jay wasn't meaning anything by it, but it doesn't mean that the memories are going to stop. Well, obviously she's now said to Jacob, especially with what I know. So because she's like, I could still make your life a misery, especially with what I know. So Jacob is going to ask questions about that because it's the type of character that he is. He's going to be like, what do you mean, what do you know? And yeah, it's getting a bit dangerous, I'm not going to lie. Well, thank God the operation went okay, but as we did see, it looks like Kane's life is definitely going to be a little bit different now. And yeah, I mean, especially someone like Kane who's so macho and so like, I will just do it for my family, I'll get on with it. You know, I feel like this will really affect him, and it's going to be quite sad to see how much it will affect him of like within himself and how he feels, because he's going to feel like less of a man, even though he's absolutely not, but that's how he's going to feel. So obviously Caitlin had mentioned, like Caitlin and Vanessa basically went on a date, and Caitlin mentioned that she's getting her dad's house in Sheffield, but she's not got the money for it just yet. But obviously now, because of Charity's secret, she's just thought of a way of getting it. She's obviously going to say that if Charity doesn't give her like X amount of money, that she's going to tell Jacob about Layla. Oh, I actually loved everybody helping Bear, like Kerry saying to Jay, and Jay realising and saying, look, you take as long as you want. And oh my God, it actually made me want to cry. And Bear actually sitting there with his biscuit and his cuppa, all happy because like he's realised actually I am safe here, like I don't have to like be a slave, because I'm not, basically. Which, oh my God, it made me want to cry, like his little smile when Jay was like, look, it's fine. I'm like, oh no, don't. Well, it's sad, isn't it? I mean, basically, when you put the long and short of it, he doesn't really want to go home because he has to have this catheter in. But it's like, at the end of the day, he's done the operation to save his own life. Surely he can just deal with that for a little bit. But honestly, I feel like it's hard, like, it's good that they've done this story with Kane because of the type of person and character we already know that he is. Like, we know that he just will not show this side of him at all. So he's obviously not want to go home because he thinks that if he goes home it's going to be weak and he's going to need like so much help, and like he doesn't want to be a burden. But like Moira and the kids are there being like, look, be a burden to us, let us help, we want you to come home. So it's like, yeah, it's not easy, is it? Can I just point out, absolutely adore Vinny and Lewis. I love them so much. So thank God for Sarah. I adore Kane and Sarah's relationship as a grandparent and granddaughter, and it really reminds me of my relationship with my gran, because I was the same with my gran. Like I would tell her anything and she would listen to me and I would listen to her, and that's what Sarah and Kane are like, and I love it. Obviously the fact that she was the only one that Kane listened to when she was like, look, get up off your backside and get yourself home, like where you're supposed to be, that's all that we want. And it was lovely. It was a beautiful ending, the fact that he got to come home obviously, and like the boys seeing him, like Kyle and Isaac, and yeah, it was so good. So obviously Caitlin is wanting to give it a go with Vanessa, and it looks like her and Vanessa might be giving it a go, but I'm also thinking that she's obviously doing this just to get at Charity, obviously because she was at Charity a little bit more today. Basically, to cut like the long story short, she wants like £10,000 from Charity to keep this secret of Layla, so that Sarah and Jacob don't find out where their daughter actually came from, and that she's Charity and Ross's baby. Honestly, I feel like she's doing this in a sense because she's angry that she's not lost her job because of Jacob, but she's been forced to retire. She's saying that she's been forced to retire because of Jacob, even though we know that's not true. But yeah, I feel like she's doing this as a sense of revenge as well, just because she's got the secret over them. And I don't think Vanessa would be happy if she found out about it either. Well, Charity can't really win in this situation, can she? I mean, Caitlin holds all the cards, basically. So yeah, I don't know what she's going to do, how this is all going to get out of it. I think it's going to get a lot worse, to be honest. So Kane wants Sam to help him because he knows now about Robert planting the IDs. Yeah, he's not happy about it. Obviously, it's what kept Moira away for months. It's what kept her in prison, and yeah, he's not happy about it at all. So yeah, he's hatching a plan with Sam, but we shall see how that comes together. Well, Caitlin won't give up, will she? Obviously, she's staying around now and wants to make a go of it with Vanessa, but she also overheard Ryan, obviously, and yeah, she's found out that Charity does own the pub, so she's wanting even more money, and that's kind of not good because I feel like she's going to make Charity sell the pub. So Kane obviously tried to get Robert, obviously it never worked out, he ended up hurt as we kind of expected. He was never in a condition to do anything like that, but I'm glad that Robert helped him and was like, look, this is just a bit stupid. So yeah, hopefully he's got it out of his system now, but unfortunately it has led him to being back in hospital. Also, who was setting fire to the farm at the end? So we had Jodie sneaking into number 1. Why is she sneaking into Ken's house? Like, what is up with her? Like, honestly. I also kind of feel like obviously Ken realised about the writing on the newspaper, and I feel like Ken is obviously going to be like, why has that happened? Because he's not stupid. Well, Megan was back, and obviously her and Will seem to be fine, which is just awful news. They're basically trying to run away, so yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen now. It's kind of going to get exciting because we're going to have to see like what Will does, because obviously if he ends up going to Paris, then Melanie is going to phone Ben and be like, where's your son that you said you were sending here? So yeah, it's all got a bit interesting. And we also found out that Will was the one with the safe as well. It was him that stole the money from the safe. Well guys, Jodie and Daniel, what are we thinking? They're obviously planning to team up together now. The way that she obviously found the key under Ken's plant pot and then she just walked into Daniel's and Daniel got the biggest fright of his life. Yeah, I feel like they're going to get together through this. I don't know what it is, but maybe it'll be good for Daniel to have somebody to talk to. So yeah, we shall see what comes of it, but it'll be interesting. Well, we all know that Tim was trying to take Will to the station and he was obviously supposed to be getting on the train and going to his mum's and all of that. However, obviously, Susie says that she's seen Will, but Will didn't see her, which makes sense because that's why she never said, Will, what are you doing or anything, because obviously he never looked back and seen her. So she was just watching and she seen him stealing the money, which she then admits that, oh, Will did it. So then everybody obviously starts thinking that he's going to run away with Megan, which obviously they're right. So they start freaking out and panicking and being like, oh my god, what are we going to do, what are we going to do, because he's clearly running away. And then they tell Tim and they let Tim know, and there was some really good scenes actually between Tim and Will where Tim was like saying about what had happened with him with Trisha in the past and was saying like, look, no matter what I think, it wasn't right. And you could see that Will was kind of thinking about what he was saying, and like Will was asking questions and he wanted to know. And I feel like for the first time we actually seen Will be like vulnerable, as in like he kind of let his guard down and he was trying to ask questions. He didn't just get angry and get up and run away, like he was actually trying to ask questions. And then yeah, it led to Tim being able to take Will to the police station. So Will finally admit what Megan's done and admit that she's been wrong this whole time, and this could finally maybe be the end of Megan. So finally we got to see Megan get charged and start to get charged for what she's done. They've finally got the evidence on her because Will's finally told the truth. Honestly, Will actually made me feel sorry for him today, because when there was a scene with him and Ben a little bit later on and he was realising how she was always going to go without him and she was never going to go with him, and you know, he was quite upset about it, which was quite sad, because he obviously really believed her, and yeah, that's obviously not the case. Also, we clearly seen that Sam's hallucinating because he was kicking and hitting and fighting nothing. So yeah, we also got Tim actually being honest with Trisha finally, and although Trisha didn't really admit anything to him, but at least Tim's had the courage and the bravery to be honest now. It was actually really nice to see Will happy when he was at speed dial with Steve and Tim. I mean, Ben's world just gets worse because all that Maggie has done is lie and lie and lie. But now she's finally told him about what really happened with Alan. And obviously Ben is quite angry about it. But she only told him because Megan obviously phoned and was using it. So was using it as a threat. So she had to come out somehow and say something before Melanie or Megan did. So yeah, she's told the truth, which I'm glad that it's out in the open now. But I still don't think that Ben's going to forgive her in the long run for a little bit anyway. So Summer is planning to go to uni in America. I'm glad that Todd said to her, like, no, you should do it, because she I just feel like Summer's had so much misery that she needs to get out there and go and do something else for herself. Oh, poor Sam. So we were right about hallucinations. Sam's basically having hallucinations, and obviously we seen that yesterday with the shadow boxing and stuff. And also today he's hallucinating a lot of things. So he's now hallucinating that his dad and Toya isn't on his side, and that they think he's jealous. And obviously this is all hallucination. So yeah, we're really going down quite a horrible path for little Sam. Well, Ben is obviously struggling with this whole situation. He's obviously basically thrown a little bit of a straw and threw everybody out the pub. I feel like he is struggling to come to terms with the fact that he's basically moved to Coronation Street and found out so much information that he didn't know about his life. And yeah, I feel like that's hard. Although I did really like Steve and Maggie. I loved them having a little scene together, and Steve actually trying to be like, look, I'll try and help. It was also nice, that scene, because obviously Maggie was able to tell Steve, look, your dad loved you and your brother, and I feel like it kind of made Steve feel better as well in a way. Poor Sam, I mean, it just gets worse. I feel like Nick has made this whole situation worse by putting this tracking device in his bag, hasn't he? And I feel like it's just making him more and more paranoid when he was already very paranoid. And I feel like, yeah, it kind of is just making it worse. It really is.